Hello, everybody. A bit of a weird filming setup today. Well, first of all, this is actually the second time I filmed this video because last time I did it, I was outside and I forgot to put a cover on the microphone, so you constantly heard the wind blowing against it, so the audio was unusable. This time it's also a bit of a weird setup because we are staying at a friend's place for a week, and we didn't bring a camera or a microphone or a tripod, so I'm filming this with my phone and it's sitting on the bed right now. so, but I think it's working and it's fine. I've got lights from the window, so the only thing is maybe a bit weird is the angle, but that's okay. I am continuing a series that I started last year, where I gave very short reviews of all the books I read in a year. Last year I read about 139 books, I think, which I know is quite a lot. 2023, because this video is going to be about 2023. I didn't read as much, still quite a lot. I think I read about 101 books. Now, to be clear, I know nowadays that on Book Talk it's very much a thing to be proud of reading more books than other people, or to feel, and I know a lot of people feel inadequate because of that. I just want to say, first of all, this year, I am bringing that goal down, my Goodreads goal, because I am quite busy. Last year was a year in which I had a lot of time to read, and the year before that I had even more time. But um, yeah, so I know this is not. Don't worry if you listening to me right now saying, "Oh, I read 101 books last year," and you think, "Oh, but I didn't read that many books." It's different for everybody, and what also helps is that I'm just naturally a fast reader. Um, so a book that would take one person a week to finish might take me half as much time. So that's just something that I'm just lucky with. So yeah, this is all just to say that just because I read a lot of books this year, please don't feel like you have to do the same thing. We are all trying to enjoy ourselves, and why push yourself if it's not fun, right? That's why I had set my goal for 105 books and I was not reaching that goal, and I really didn't want to spend the last 3 days of the year reading more books just to get that goal. So I decided to let it go. And this year I cut my goal in half because I don't want to force myself into things I don't enjoy. That being said, here are the reviews. I've put them in categories of genres, and also I've put the Dutch books and the German books at the end. I haven't done those by genre but by language because I don't think English readers would be as interested in those. So the first ones are short books and short stories. Let's just start. Pierre, a cautionary tale in 5 chapters and a prologue by Maurice Sendak, the same guy who wrote Where the Wild Things Are. I gave this one 2 stars because no child acts like this, so there's no point in warning them not to. The Prophet's Hair by Salmon Rushdie, 2 stars. Very basic message. You really don't need any literacy skills to get what this one's about. The Drop by John Christopher. I gave this one 3 stars because it felt like the introduction to a longer story. The Garden Party by Katherine Mansfeld, 4 stars because the author succeeded in making the main characters irritating, which was the point. And so, yeah, I'm saying well done because they were super annoying. And then A Taste of Summer by Ellen Klages, 4 stars because I just thought it was sweet and creative. Then fantasy books. The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White, 2 stars. I don't know, the magic just kind of felt off for me. The Legacy of Villains by Juliet Lockwood, also 2 stars because genocide is not excusable actually. Romancing the Princess by C.K. Brooke, 4 stars. It was a bit predictable, but I had fun. Where the Lightning Goes by Jackary Salem, 2 stars. Not a single good person to be found in this book. The World Above by Cameron Dokey, 3 stars because the climax isn't very climaxy. The Knight's Tale series by Gerald Morris, 3 stars. There's just fun, questionable little adventures. And then I read the Squire's Tale series, the first 2 books by Gerald Morris, and I gave it 2.5 stars because has this author ever met a woman? Once I Knew by Victoria Lynn, I gave this 3 stars because how did this have 14 beta readers and it is still riddled with errors? The Great and Terrible Quest by Margaret Lovett, I gave this one 4 stars. It was predictable but fun. The Red Fox Ran by December Night, 4 stars. This was a very 50-50 book for me, but in the end I did enjoy it. Stars and Swashbucklers by Lilah Fitzgerald, or Fitzgerald, I don't know. 3 stars. I gave this one 3 stars. I thought it had a cool setting, but some of the violence was a bit gory and over the top. Then I read the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series because there's a show coming out that I'm actually not even planning on watching, but because of that everybody was talking about this series, so I wanted to check it out. by Rick Riordan. I gave it 4 stars because it was somewhat predictable and formulaic, but it was still tense enough to get me hooked. Forest of Scarlet by Tara Grayce. I gave this one 4 stars, not necessarily for great quality, but great entertainment. Then Bluebeard and the Outlaw also by Tara Grayce. Yeah, I gave that one 2 stars because this one was kind of dumb, not gonna lie. The Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. 3 stars or 3.2 stars average, because for series I'm just taking all of the stars, I added them and then averaging them. So this one got a 3.2 average because it's scarier than the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, but it also makes less sense. Then we are on to the non-fiction books. The Book That Made Your World by Vishal Mangalwadi. I gave this one 4 stars. The anecdotes in this book fluctuated between entertaining and just absolutely horrifying. Mary Slessor by Sam Wellman. 3 stars. The old language used to describe Africans was a bit old-fashioned, but other than that, it was a very enjoyable read. Triumph in Death by F. Graham Smith. I gave this one 5 stars because this book is just really cool. Then Science Tales by Darrell Cunningham. 1 star. This has got to be the most unscientific book I read in 2023, and up till now also in 2024. Song of Spider-Man by Glenn Berger. I gave this one 2 stars because the author put himself in the victim's position way too much. Foreign to Familiar by Sarah Lanier. I gave this one 4 stars, and honestly I read it for the fun anecdotes. Two Miserable Presidents by Steve Sheinkin. 4 stars. I love history books about ordinary, real people, and that's why I also love his next book, King George, also by Steve Sheinkin. I also gave that one 4 stars because the anecdotes and quotes really make these books what they are. Saving Leonardo by Nancy R. Piercy. I gave this one 5 stars. It has a high information density, but it does make museums a lot less boring to go to when you know more about art and the ideas behind it. So, Money Management for Young Adults by Luke Villerman. I gave this book 4 stars. I think this one was written for American people, but honestly, it was quite understandable even if you didn't have the American background knowledge. Dead Aid by Dambisa Moyo. I gave this one 4 stars. Honestly, I don't know enough about economics to get most of what's in this book, but I got the general gist. Then there's Creation Basics and Beyond by the Institute for Creation Research. I give this one 3 stars because even though they said it would be, it was still not always accessible for non-academics, and it really depended on the author of each chapter how easy to read each chapter would be. The Genesis of Germs by Alan L. Gillen. 4 stars. For me, this was actually a very new approach to learning about this type of stuff, so that was really cool. Like, which other book was it? Saving Leonardo, the information density is very high. How Not to Die by Michael Grieger. I give this one 5 stars. I personally just thought it was a great and very informative read. Shout Your Abortion, that's an interesting book. I didn't rate this one because I judge books based on content, and I specifically read this book to learn about the opinions of people I don't agree with. So. And then a fun book. I read this one for school, but it's part of the Life of Fred series, Trigonometry by Stanley F. Schmidt. Guys, honestly, if you have to learn about mathematics, use these books because I gave this one 4 stars. It's not only educational, but honestly, they're just actually so fun. They grow with you. So the Life of Fred books for, primary school, they're talking about primary school issues. But then once you get to the books for older people, actually the jokes and stuff like that, they do grow with you. So these books are actually very fun to read. Now we're on to historical fiction. Good Master, Sweet Ladies by Robert Burns got only 2 stars from me because the author has a very survival of the fittest ideology, and because of that, everything is portrayed through a very depressing lens. Then Duels and Deception by Cindy Anstey. I gave this book 3 stars because it was very predictable and it did not live up to what the blurb said, so that was quite disappointing. Then The Dead Sea Files by Nick Page. I gave it 3 stars because some of the humor gets old pretty quickly, but then again, the book's quite short. Love Letters by Mary Davis. I gave this book 5 stars because all of these stories were super sweet. I highly recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. Codename Verity by Elizabeth Ween. 4 stars. Honestly, this book was a very weird mixture of horror and humor. Love in Disguise by Penny Zeller. 3 stars because once again, it did not do what the blurb said it would, and the plot hinges on miscommunication, which I really don't like. The Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow by Jerome K. Jerome. I gave this one 5 stars, and honestly, this 137-year-old book is kind of relatable. The Scarlet Pimpernel books, I read books 2.5 and then books 3 through 10. So 2.5 is basically just an extra book that was inserted between 2 and 5. The average rating for this one is 3.2 stars, and that's mostly because there were 2 bangers and 7 very mid books. Then The Wanderer Scorned by Natasha Woodcraft. 5 stars. I really love villain origin stories because they're so fascinating, and this one was really good. The Father Brown Omnibus by G.K. Chesterton. I gave this one 4 stars. I loved the sweet main character, although you didn't actually get enough information to solve the mysteries yourself. So you couldn't really figure it out alongside the main character, but then again, I'm not so good at that anyway. Diary of a Pilgrimage by Jerome K. Jerome. I gave this one 4 stars, and honestly, my favorite quote from this book is, "It looks like a cheese that had seen trouble." That's the kind of vibe you're gonna get from this book. Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress by Dai Siji. 1 star. Honestly, next time I want to be informed on the Chinese re-education programs, I'll just get an encyclopedia. The Enola Holmes Mysteries by Nancy Springer. 1 star. If you've seen my video on this series, then you will know that Enola Holmes and I are enemies. A Proud Taste for Scarlet and Miniver by E.L. Koningsberg. I don't know how to pronounce this. 3 stars. I thought this book was fun, but the self-aware humor was a bit much. Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. 2 stars. How to Groom Annoying Self-Centered Young Girls 101. That's what this book was. Shadow of a Bull by Maya Wachichowska. I think that's how you pronounce it, but don't get mad at me if that's wrong. 4 stars. It was surprisingly funny and thought-provoking. And then the last historical fiction book is The Golden Goblet by Eloise Jarvis McGraw. I give this one 4 stars. It's a dark mystery in Egypt with pretty dark moments. Then, for the English books, we are already at the other category, which has The Girl Who Could See by Kara Swanson, which I gave 3 stars because it was fun, but a bit unbelievable. The famous 5 Annual of 1996, 3 stars, it filled a boring hour, that's why I read it. The One by John Mars, I did not finish this one, and that's why I gave it 1 star. Great concept, great execution, but kinda gross content. Q&A by Carolyn R. Russell, I gave this one 2 stars because I didn't like the style or the humor. About a Boy by Nick Hornby, I did not finish it, 1 star. Fun idea, but too much bad language and sex. Finding Gilbert by Robin Martin. I gave this one 3 stars because it only got good after chapter 20. Dr. Doolittle's Zoo by Hugh Lofting. I gave this one 3 stars. Basically, we listened to these books in the car, and I didn't really want to listen to this book, but the audio was so loud that I could not do anything but think about what was going on in the book. Like, it actually penetrated, I felt like it penetrated my thoughts. Like, I couldn't not concentrate or hear what was going on. That's how loud it was. Honestly, I do not recommend you listen or read this one in one sitting, because it's quite episodal and very long. Like, I fell asleep. Basically, there's this part where all these different characters start telling short stories in the middle of the longer story. I fell asleep during that, and then I woke up and they were still going. Just to maybe be clear, this is probably a really fun book for the age range it's meant to be for, and probably also for older people. It's just that the timing wasn't right for me. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. 1 star. This whole book is one huge straw man. The Curious Incident of the Dog at the Night Time by Mark Haddon. 2 stars, because this was a good book, but my goodness, was there a lot of swearing. And then The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. 5 stars, of course, all the awards to Suzanne Collins. Okay, then we've had all the English books. Let's go see how many Dutch and German books I read this year. Let's go German first. So, first book, Draußen vor der Tür by Wolfgang Borchardt. Sorry, I have to switch languages. Okay, Draußen vor der Tür by Wolfgang Borchardt. This name. Okay, yeah. 3 stars. Yeah, I was moved. Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. 3 stars. It was beautifully written and almost managed to convince me that Buddhism is cool. Der Prozess by Franz Kafka. 2 stars. This is just random weird things, the book. And that's all I read for German this year, because German is a difficult language to read for me, and I know that if I read more German, I would get better at it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm reading more German this year. See, the thing is, I have to read German for school as well, but I think I've actually done all of the German books I had to read, so the list is probably going to be shorter this year as well. Then, Dutch books. Zwarte Sneeuw by Simone van der Vlucht. 4 stars because it looks at a less well-known part of Dutch history. Economy for Dummies by Peter Antonioni. This was a translation. 3 stars. This was a good book, but I am honestly afraid that I didn't pay enough attention while reading to get everything, so I should probably reread this one. 6 Seconden by Danielle Bakhuis. 2 stars because why are all the teens sex-addicted, stupid junkies? Dan de Eliminatie by Danielle Bakhuis. So this book is interesting. I gave it 1 star because I'm pretty sure the point of this book was to make you think about what makes life worth living, but in practice it just asks the question whose life is least worth living, who should die if that keeps others alive. And that's just the iffy part, you know what I mean? So, no. Maskers by Jeannette Donkersteeg. I gave this one 3 stars because it was scarier than expected, but in a good way. Dan Lawaai om een koker by Margaret Maljers. I just gave this 3 stars by default because I was way too old for this book. I don't know why I read it. Torenhoog en Mijlenbreed by Tonke Drach. This is a series. 2 stars. It was very utopian and naive, and also there's incest. Gijsbrecht van Amstel, by Joost van den Vondel. Honestly, 5 stars because it is actually quite fun once you get into it. Willem die Madoc maakte by Nico Dross. I did not finish this. 1 star. Why is the Dutch literature so gross and anti-religion? Nooit meer slapen by Willem Frederik Hermans. 2 stars. It was well written. The main character was super annoying and the worldview was kind of dumb. De intrede van Christus in Brussel by Dimitri Verhulst. 2 stars. It was written in a very fun way, but honestly the huge amount of cynicism made the claims less believable. And once again, why is Dutch literature so gross? It was this book. Ooh, no. De Vliegende Hollander by P. Visser. 3 stars. This was another very loud audiobook that we listened to in the car. But it was a good book. Minouche by Annie M.G. Schmid. 3 stars. This was a sweet little story. Vadertje Langbeen by Jean Webster. 2 stars. This is basically how to groom annoying self-centered young girls 101. I read this book in English, and then we listened to it in the car. 3 books, yes. And in Dutch, and that's why it's on here twice. Publieke Werken by Thomas Rosenboom. It's 3 stars. It's well written, but still a bit weird, and the second-hand embarrassment really got to me. And then last book, Kom Binnen by an anonymous writer. 3 stars. It got its point clearly across, and it's well written. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. You may have noticed actually that I haven't been uploading a lot recently, and that's because I'm in my final year of high school. I may have mentioned this in another video already, and we were also moving, so I just really didn't feel like posting anything or making anything, etc, etc. But I feel like I'm getting my motivation back a little bit right now, but we'll have to see. So yeah, we'll see how the upload schedule goes. I'm definitely not in the 1 video every 2 weeks thing anymore, but we're gonna see. It's fine, it's fine. So yeah, that was it for this video. I have a lot of videos planned, but they're a lot of work, they're a lot of mental, I have to be smart or something. There's a lot of interesting things coming. I'd say stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Bye!